Instagram, what's going on, people? We got some great stuff for y'all today. I just wanted to give a little education or something I've been thinking about. It seems like a small thing, but the more I take calls and people ask for business funding, then I realize it's not as small as I looked at it. It's probably a big deal. It's probably So the big thing is this credit score stuff. Credit score is so misleading. It's almost like you shouldn't even ask nobody their credit score, because I keep taking these business funding calls and I'm talking to people. They go score, 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 score. But then once we get down to the meat and potatoes of their credit report, it always comes down to that issue. So that's what I'm like, all right, if people have been taught about the meat and potatoes of the credit report, then they would just stop saying score, 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 score. So this is basically why I'm coming on this live now to really talk about the meat and potatoes of the credit score, the credit report, so you can stop saying score, score, score. I'll tell you this story real quick. Or plenty of stories, but I'll tell you a quick one. I remember we were going through trying to do business funding for someone. And they had a 790, and this is earlier years, but this is just a proof to you. They had a 797 score. We could not get them approved for much of nothing, maybe $1,000, $3,000. But then we dealt with someone that had a 686. I'll never forget these scores. And they were getting 9 times as much as this person with the 790. And you like 111 points higher and they can't get the money. So that's right there is what I want to tell you. It's really more about the credit report than the score. The score is so misleading. So here's some of the things you need to be looking for. Like I talked to this person and they said they scored like 720, 730. But then when we start talking about his report, his highest credit card limit was $600. $600 was his highest credit limit. So now let's say, so remember, he got the score. He won business funding. So we say his highest credit limit is $600. Somebody just guess. Somebody tell me how much you think he's going to get in business funding with the highest score or highest credit limit that he's shown to manage up to that point was $600. Remember, the score was there. He was feeling good about the score, but it came down to the report. So which one mattered more, the report or the score? It's the report. So now it's like, all right, I talked to another person. He's like, oh, he said 1,000. Yeah, somewhere around there. I said, you can't even think it's going to be much. So now I talked to someone else. He like, oh yeah, man, I just been using cash, but my scores is good. Remember, credit is a game. You can use cash, but send the cash to the credit card company. That's what you do with your cash. Don't just go in the store and actually give it to the person at the store. You're not playing the credit game. So playing the credit game is just remembering you're not actually needing the credit. You're not actually even using the credit. You're playing the game. So in the point, and this is the exact scenario with this guy. He said that he had been just using credit, keeping it up, just using cash. But then now he's in the position there where his life where he wants to get business funding, but he's not in position for it because he wasn't playing the game. So that's why I just wanted to come on and talk about playing the game early, so you don't have to worry about when it's time for you to use your credit, you can't even use it because you ain't been playing the game. So here's another thing you should always do. Making sure you ask your credit card companies when they do their credit limit increases, because some credit card companies will give you credit limit increases every 3 months and some will give it to you every 6 months. And so these are 2 things I want you to put on your list of playing the credit game, of making sure that you are aware of when you can get credit limit increases from your credit card companies, and make sure you're doing it systematically every 3 to 6 months. A year shouldn't go by and you haven't applied for a credit limit increase. So this is something too, because to avoid, remember, he's had this card for 3 years and his highest limit is $600. But if he was playing the game like this, like I'm telling you, his limit will be much higher if he was just getting limit increases every 3 to 6 months. So that's something I would really want you to realize. Spend a little money on the card, pay it off, and then making sure that you got that activity to be able to get credit limit increases. Because remember, you don't really need the credit. You're not using it just because you need it. You're using it to play the game for when you actually need it. And so that's a foresight action. It's saying, okay, I know right now I got good credit, or it seems I got good credit. But then, later, you don't even know if you want to open a business. You don't even know if you want to get a house. You don't even know if you want to get a car loan. But you say, all right, it's better for me to just play the game and put myself in position. So, all right, I got $50 right here. I'm about to go spend it at the store for whatever. Why don't I just swipe my credit card real quick, swipe the credit card, and then here's something quick you can do that I say to help me keep discipline. If you don't want to worry about missing a payment or waiting to stay made, when you see the transaction post, log right into your bank and then just pay it off. Now you got payment history for that month and you got some activity. And then here's another thing too to keep in mind too when you playing the game. Look at when your report is at total zero utilization where you don't have balances on anything. And then go in the next month and leave $1 or $10. Watch your score actually be higher. You like, how is that? Remember, it's a game. You just need to know the rules. So this was about knowing the rules of the game. They want you to be in debt, and actually zero is actually worse than a balance. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just here to give y'all the facts. And test it. Don't let me just tell you that. Make sure you put it into existence and check it out. So remembering something beautiful, making sure you're getting your credit limit increases every 3 to 6 months, find out from your credit card company. Make sure that you are just having some small transaction on there, some type of activity just to keep that going. And then if you don't want to have to worry about paying the bill or forgetting about it or something, just log right in after the transaction post and then just pay the balance. Pay whatever it is or leave something very, very small on there. Pay it 99% off. Those are things that you do. And then also, here's another thing that he told me. He said that he's been monitoring his credit report from Experian.com. I would tell y'all this fact today. When you use a credit bureau to pull your other credit bureau's reports, they're just selling you a product. They're not actually getting that real information from the credit bureaus. Prime example. He was looking at Experian and it said that on Equifax he had a late payment on some years ago on an account. He called Equifax directly and got the report from Equifax. It was no late payment reporting on his credit. But Experian.com said that. So that's why I don't use credit bureaus to track. If you want to use and then here's the thing. If we're looking for errors or inaccuracies or something, order your real reports. But credit monitoring, let's use it for what it's for. It's for monitoring your credit. So, you can't order your real credit reports to figure out if an account just popped up on there or an account that's not yours. But that's what the credit monitoring is for. So if you want to talk about credit monitoring, I recommend Identity IQ because it's a third party that's actually pulling from each bureau directly. Now, while the information may not be 100% reliable, it's way more reliable than trying to track or trying to monitor your credit from using one of the credit bureau's credit monitoring service because they are just using one credit bureau and just pulling whatever data. It's going to be way less accurate than like an Identity IQ or something. If I'm trying to get a HELOC, which credit report should I use? If you're trying to get a HELOC, really that's the bank's job to pull your credit report. So I would just be aware of what bureau are they pulling. I would ask them, hey, what credit bureau do y'all pull for this or do y'all pull all three? And that's how you can be able to get ahead. And then when you're talking about, you can pull your credit monitoring service just to see what's on the credit report. You're not looking for errors or inaccuracies. So the regular stuff that's on your credit report should be there on the credit monitoring service. So that's a good use of credit monitoring service just for something like this. Yeah, if you got Identity IQ, you can pull it up and then see what's on there. But I assume that you wouldn't be applying for a HELOC unless you thought your credit was good enough to get approved for it. So really, I wouldn't stress about that. I would just simply ask the bank, what credit bureau do they pull? And just if they tell you TransUnion, just go to your TransUnion report and just make sure your TransUnion looking good. So that's my advice as far as that. Yeah, I don't think it's a worry. So yeah, that's my take on that. And I actually got a call coming up with time. I just wanted to jump on here. Got a 12 o'clock coming up. So, but yeah, we got a couple more minutes. So that's another thing too, making sure that you playing the credit game, because if you want to get business funding down the road or getting some on your credit report, it's better to put yourself in position prior to and then get in the situation and figuring out what you got to do. Of course, it's a learning experience, but you want to get ahead before time though. So let me see what other tips I can give you as far as playing the credit game. Or yeah. If you building credit, and you want to build credit, remember secured cards and secured loans. They are a great tool. And what makes them better, if you're a person that says, I just been dealing cash, but you got access to a good amount of cash, you're a saver or whatever, think about money that you got saved up that's just sitting there and not doing anything. How about you getting yourself a secured car and a secured loan? So let's say you've been saving up, you got $5,000-$10,000 just sitting over there, it's in a savings, doing whatever, but it's not really helping. You understand what inflation is, right? So when money just sits and the cost of money and the cost of things are going up, when money is just sitting and it's not making any money, it's actually losing its value. So you should always do something with money. You should never just park it anywhere. So if you're going to park some money anywhere, here's a way where you use it to your advantage. Secure card, secure loan. And then keep in mind, my pleasure, if you doing this, the higher limit you give yourself is how the banks are going to look at you when it's time for you to get revolving credit. So let's say you got 5,000, 10,000, maybe even, and this works better to someone with high. I would love to deal with someone who just had cash and they didn't know what to do with it and haven't been educated in the credit game, and just turn them out. Because think about it. Imagine you give yourself a $10,000 secured card, a $10,000 secured loan, and you managing that for 6 to 8 months. You already putting yourself in a great position when you start getting credit card approved. Your limit's going to be high out the gate just because you did that with the secured card. So the higher limit you give yourself on the secure side is the higher limit that the bank's going to give you on the unsecured side. So if you're doing that, I started at $500. I've actually worked from zero credit twice now. So I can tell you, I started with a $500 secure card. I ran with that for about 6 months. And then I went and got approved for a unsecured card. So it really is just 6 to 8 months. And then here's another thing that I don't hear a lot of times, but it's so important. Anything we do in life, I think we just do it, but we forget how it reflects. The more things we do is now shaping our character. It's called, in the form of action. So we say when we're looking at credit, you know what they really are looking for? What type of person you are. And what they're looking for is, are you a disciplined person? Are you a consistent person? By way of payment history. So if you look at it that way, and now you say, all right, when they're looking at my credit report, they're actually looking at me as a person, and this is just a metric. And so if you can't make consistent payments on time for really your whole life, things happen, so that's why they give you, but really they're looking at it, the person who just don't have late payments and the person that's managing this well, they like, okay, this is the type of person I think I would like to deal with. So that's what makes you look more attractive to the banks, just simply, though. People think it's about credit, but it's really about you as a person. That's what you telling people. Hey, look, this is how I get careless sometimes. I be forgetting sometimes. That's what your credit report says if all that stuff is on there. I'm irresponsible. I get myself into positions where I didn't know how to get out. Like, I've had people that just go and get approved for credit or just use the credit, but they really don't know their exit plan. So it's just like, hey, I need it at this moment. I figure it out later. But that shows that when you have that type of history in your credit report and you're applying for something. So if that happens, of course it happens to life. It's happened to me before. It's happened to everybody. Just know that that's how you look. So it's better not to be applying for something. Try to get that corrected. And there's always ways to get that corrected. The credit repair process, there's so many things you can do, but I always like to narrow it down to the simple and easy place. Hold them to the law. Get the real credit reports, spot the inaccuracies, order incompletes, and just make it simple that way and make sure you dispute in detail. So let me get ready for this 12 o'clock call. I just wanted to give you that little bit about the credit game. Hope y'all play it that way because business funding seems like a big thing, but the only thing is missing is people just may not have the education to be able to put themselves in position. And when you want the business funding and someone telling you, hey, look, this is the position you need to be in, it kind of is disheartening because it's like, dang, I'm not ready now. I want the money now. So I came over here to put you in position. So now the next time when you go to someone, you've been doing the right things and you're in position. So I hope this helps. I'll see y'all soon.